This is the new Volkswagen Tiguan, VW's first SUV and one of the German automaker's most popular models, is now in its third generation. Will it remain a strong player in the compact crossover segment? Watch this to find out. I also recorded a comparison of the new Tiguan and a Chinese crossover 14 T5. This video will be available for channel members early and without ads.
As far as dimensions are concerned, it seems we hit a wall. Car makers made what once were compact SUVs bigger enough to squeeze a couple of smaller models beneath them in the lineup. In case of VW, it's the T-roc and the T-cross. Sitting above the Tiguan were the Tiguan Allspace and the Touareg. The former will be replaced by the Tiguan Allspace for China. The new Tiguan dimensions are almost identical to the second generation model. There's only 1 or 2 centimeters difference here and there, but that's mainly because of differently shaped bumpers. Speaking of shape, changes are visible especially from the front. The new fascia is better for aerodynamics, and it also made the new Tiguan look a bit like the Beijing 5.
Yes, I'm actually comparing a European car to a Chinese model and not the other way around.
Modest facelifts and new generations, which seem barely different to the outgoing models, are nothing new for Volkswagen. However, in this almost unchanged package live some modern features which we may like or not. More about them in a moment. Meanwhile, briefly about practicality. The boot, according to VW, has 652 liters capacity and is, according to VW, 37 liters bigger than in the previous generation. Here I need to clarify that the 652 liters in the spec sheet is achieved with the rear seats slid all the way forward, backrest in their most upright position by removing the double floor, the mini spare or the repair kit, and then we may arrive at 652 liters. Under normal circumstances we get something like 470, as you see it here. Good news is that all-wheel drive doesn't impact the boot capacity, but the PHEV has, according to VW, only 490 liters capacity, which is probably even less in real life. On the plus side, we get a double floor, a mini spare, the parcel shelf fits under the false floor, there's a shopping bag hook, there are levers to fold the backrests in the second row, and there's a 12-volt outlet. The boot can be opened and closed with gesture. Unfortunately, there is no separate button to close the tailgate and lock the car.
The doors cover the sills, no change here, and that's good. There is plenty of legroom in the back. Unless we slide the rear bench 20 centimeters forward, then it can get pretty tight, especially if the driver is taller than me. And I'm 175 centimeters tall. If I don't say that, you're gonna ask me in the comments, so I have to say it in every flippin' review.
The door pockets are large. There are cup holders in the armrest. There is third zone climate control and 2 USB-C ports. The rear backrest splits 40-20-40. ISOFIX anchor points are in the back as well as on the front passenger seat. There are also pockets in the backrests of the front seats. Map pockets at the bottom and smaller pockets for mobile devices on top. There is still a large tunnel running through the middle though.
Changes in the front are for better or for worse. There is no running from screens because these days every car has to be a computer on wheels to meet the European GSR2 directive requirements. Advanced driver aids are now mandatory and they are increasingly difficult to turn off. I don't mind if they are well calibrated, but let's not foreshadow.
Volkswagen deserves praise for admitting to mistakes and going back to physical buttons on the steering wheel. Contents of the driver screen has been simplified, the graphics are not my favorite, but it took me just a couple of minutes to click through the settings and display the data I want. It used to be better, but then there was a period when it was much worse. The infotainment system has also been improved because whatever debuted in Mark 8 Golf was absolute garbage. The system is logical-ish. Most of the time you're going to be using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto anyway. This is not an EV, so you don't care about OEM sat-nav to plan routes with charging along the way. Unfortunately, all AC settings are still on the screen and the touch sliders. Skoda did it better.
VW did adopt one multifunction knob from Skoda. An interesting idea, but the implementation less so. I love a volume knob, and what do you do to mute the sound? You press it, right? Wrong! Press the knob and you get the drive modes. I poked around the menus, but I couldn't find any settings to change how you use the knob. You just can't turn any extra functions off.
On the plus side, there is a 2-phone wireless charging cradle. It's under a flap, so you can charge your phones, access USB ports, and still have some storage on top. Cup holders are removable. You can have them higher, next to the volume knob, or lower under the armrest. And there are also some detachable dividers for a bottle. While there is no closed center console storage, the armrest is adjustable in 2 planes. The glove box is average size, but the door pockets are big and flocked.
The start button is next to the volume knob, and yes, the first time round I turned the knob hoping to put the car in gear like a Kia Sorento. VW now positions the gear selector behind the steering wheel on the passenger side because you can no longer buy a Tiguan with a manual gearbox. The engine lineup is made up of 1.5 ETSI mild hybrid petrol engine, a 2-liter petrol, a 2-liter diesel, and a 1.5 TSI-based PHEV.
The 2-liter petrol is an all-wheel drive. The 2-liter diesel can be front or all-wheel drive. The PHEV is front-wheel drive only. The ETSI motor has 131 or 150 horsepower. The 2-liter TSI with 4-motion all-wheel drive has 265 horsepower. The 2-liter diesel has 150 horsepower with front-wheel drive or 192 horsepower with all-wheel drive. The PHEV has either 150 or 177 horsepower. PHEVs have a 6-speed DSG, while the remaining engine variants come with the 7-speed double-clutch transmission. PHEVs have a claimed range of around 100 km in electric mode and come with 50 kW fast DC charging. Today I'm driving the 1.5 ETSI 150 horsepower car. The claimed combined fuel economy is around 6 liters per 100 km. If you apply yourself, you can achieve a result like that. The 0 to 100 km per hour time should be 9.1 seconds. I got 9 seconds in sport mode with launch control, like you need it, and in normal mode I got 9.2 seconds, so the sport mode and launch control don't really do much.
This test car comes with optional DCC Pro adaptive suspension. In most trims, like here, it's an option, and I promise you there's better ways to spend almost €1,200 than DCC Pro. As far as I recall, adaptive suspension makes knocking noises in all VWs. It's not a bug, it's a feature. On a relatively smooth surface, you can dial in your preferred level of comfort or sporty suspension feel, but as soon as the roads get a bit rougher, you're going to hate every minute of it. Spend the money on a panoramic roof or a towing package. Speaking of which, depending on the engine variant, the Tiguan can tow between 16 and 2,300 kilos. This 150 horsepower ETSI variant can tow 1.8 tons. All cars can take up to 100 kilograms on the hitch and on the roof.
How's the new Tiguan to drive? Who cares? The driver aids are terrible and try to overpower you. I don't know if it's the new EU regulations or bad calibration, but I start every trip by disabling not just ISA, which is 2 clicks on the screen, but also front assist. Why? Now, I try to be civil on the road, but sometimes I'm forced to perform a more aggressive maneuver, or maybe I can see a car waiting to do a left turn and it starts to move and I don't need to apply the brakes. Unfortunately, the Tiguan doesn't know that. During a single trip, which was less than 100 kilometers long, I had several instances of front assist overreacting. One time, it was not only annoying, but also dangerous. Long story short, I was overtaking someone, and with the next car in line, the front assist reacted, so I basically cut in front of someone and then the car started braking, making me a dangerous asshole. The margin for error wasn't great, but Volkswagen made it even more dangerous than it was supposed to be. Without front assist, I wouldn't even notice there was a problem. And to make things worse, you can no longer adjust how sensitive the safety features are. You can just disable the whole thing, which is not ideal, because without front assist, I lose adaptive recuperation, which under normal circumstances works quite well, and I'd love to use it, but not if it means I could be rear-ended because the car decides to brake all of a sudden.
I had a similar problem in the Skoda Kodiaq, but over there the systems failed completely after 2 days and the front assist did not work until I handed the car back to Skoda. Probably they had to do some software update, which by the way doesn't inspire confidence in VW Group's safety features. And while I'm in the safety systems menu, I also turn off the lane keeping assist. This can no longer be adjusted. Sudden and violent correction of the driving line, even on a wide motorway, can end badly. On the positive side, the Matrix LEDs are even better. But to be honest, with these nannies, you don't care about the Matrix headlights because you'll be driving slowly to avoid having any of the safety systems misread your inputs.
What did you do, Volkswagen? You used to be my benchmark for driver aids. Now you're worse than Toyota, and Toyota is really bad at this. The new Tiguan now also gets the Park Assist Pro, which should remember your parking spot and then perform a series of maneuvers to park in said spot. In theory, you can save, for example, the parking maneuver to your driveway. When you're close to your home, the car asks whether it should park for you. Sure thing, why not? You launch the Park Assist, the car adjusts its position on the street, and then it parks.
This is the theory. In real life, for the last 2 years, none of VW Group cars was able to park in my driveway, never mind how precise or imprecise they are aiming into my gate. More often than not, the parking sensors forced the car to abort the parking procedure before it got to the Mount Everest of an incline my driveway is. But at least the car is very well soundproofed and the visibility is pretty good as well. Although the backup camera resolution could be better, perhaps it looks less bad on a smaller screen, but this car comes with a 15-inch Discover Pro Max display. That's part of a €2,640 features pack. It seems the camera is the same, regardless of the screen. Prices of the new Volkswagen Tiguan start at €38,250 for the base trim, 131 horsepower, 1.5 ETSI variant. This test car is in Elegance trim and with options it'll set you back €55,045.
Since new cars are mostly computers on wheels, I bet many issues can be addressed with a software update. Perhaps Volkswagen will make the Tiguan better and then I will be able to recommend it. For now, I recommend you check with the dealers if they have any second generation stock they would like to get rid of. And what do you think about the new Tiguan? Time for an upgrade, or are you keeping the old car? Or perhaps you have a different compact SUV on your radar. What is it? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.